A few weeks ago, I talked to a client of mine. He's a startup CEO from the US. And he asked me, how do I make my system self-learning? Because he has been talking about it with other founders too. So, software that makes itself better, because think about it. If your product improves on its own with AI, the competition never catches up. And I don't know a founder who doesn't want that kind of leverage. And honestly, I find this idea pretty inspiring. We brainstormed on the call, and today I want to share my perspective with you. Because between the dream and what your software can do today, there's a gap, and as of today, I think it sits on 3 levels: the system, the process, and the code base. So, level 1, the system. Let me show you the simplest way to see it. Ask Claude to send an email. It will do it nicely because Gmail plugs into AI. Now ask it to create a lead in your 10-year-old custom-made CRM. And it will tell you it just can't. What's the difference, you'll ask? Well, Gmail gives agents a way in and your CRM doesn't. For AI to work inside your product, it needs a communication layer built for the agents. And it doesn't matter if it's a bot, an automation, or an integration, they all need the same thing. Now the tempting shortcut is, we already have an API, just plug the AI into that. Even Anthropic, the company behind Claude, says that's a common mistake. This layer is its own engineering. You design it differently, you test it differently, and you add guardrails, you add logging. These are things most systems just don't have today. You decide what the agent can do on its own, what needs a human click, and what it can never touch. You log every single decision because when an agent refunds the wrong customer, the AI did it is not an incident report. This, I believe, is the bottleneck. Before AI can work in your product with any freedom, your product has to be ready for it. Either rebuilt to the new standard or with a new layer built on top of it. Level 2, the process. Okay, so try this one yourself. Ask ChatGPT to write a proposal for a client and do it on the accounts of 2 different people, and you'll get 2 fundamentally different documents. Different length, different language, and different content. But if you give AI a document process with a template, now it puts the effort in the right places, because it preserves the spine and it adjusts the copy, alters the price, and replaces the client's details based on the call transcript. It doesn't drift away from the rules you set at the company, and that's the whole point. You can't hand the process to an agent if the process lives in people's heads. If the edge cases get handled because one person just knows what to do, there's nothing to hand over. Here's my test. If you can't delegate it to a smart intern with a 1-page checklist, you can't delegate it to an agent either. AI is a multiplier. It multiplies whatever you feed it. So feed it a fuzzy process, and it will execute the gaps at machine speed. The last one, level 3, the code base. Now the full dream. What does that actually look like? Say your customers keep sending one extra detail every time right after they sign up. It shows up in every support thread. The AI notices the pattern and it decides this information belongs in the sign-up form. So it adds the fields, ships it, and then it checks it. Did those support messages stop? That's a product improving itself. Nobody wrote a ticket. Nobody planned a sprint. The product saw its own gap and it closed it. Sounds amazing? It really is. And to be fair, this layer is the youngest of the 3. If somebody promises it to you next sprint, that's a tell. Because here's the catch. The agent will make that change either way, confidently rating its own work to 10 out of 10. And if your codebase has tests and docs, the change ships, and tests prove nothing else broke. But if it doesn't, nobody knows what just broke 3 screens away. Not you, not the agent. Your customers find out first. You can't delegate changes on a codebase that fights every release. You need tests that work as guardrails, docs an agent can actually read, releases that run on their own. And it's the same discipline that makes human teams fast. Agents just make the gaps show up faster. So here's where I land. I think technology is here. I've seen it, we've used it, I think it's capable of doing it, and it's great. but I haven't seen many companies use AI in a meaningful way yet, because it takes a different approach and a different skill set on all three levels. And one number to keep you honest. Gartner looked at this last year. Thousands of vendors call themselves agentic. How many actually are? Their estimate, about 130 of thousands. So when you hear a big promise, walk it down the three levels: the system, the process, and the code base. As for us, we are on our path to the Cloud Partner Network certification, keeping up with the newest in the space so we can help tech companies get up to speed on all three layers. If this was helpful, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one.